on here. Hello, 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 and welcome everyone to Beauty Pioneers. I am your hair coach, Coach Lee Hill, and I have the incomparable. I am just floored right now because we're waiting on Dawn to get on board. However, in the midst of that, I have the founder and the creator of Golden Scissors. And if anybody has been in the beauty world for at least the last 20 years or so, you definitely know who I have on board. The beautiful, the door opener, a true beauty pioneer, Mr. Glynn Jackson, as he is so humble that I am just floored right now, y'all. If you really, really understand, and I don't even know. I'm
You're
so
funny.
glad.
You're
And he's
funny.
so humble. He is so humble. Which I absolutely. Oh Lord, please don't say add it to the stage. Come on, Don. Come on, Don. And Glenn, can you give us just a little bit of your history? You was explaining to me.
Oh, God. When it comes to the hair industry, I've been doing this business for over 30 plus years.
Mhm.
I started Golden Scissors in Washington, D.C. many moons ago. And probably around the 20-year mark, I started getting corporate support for the platform. And so as a result of that, I had the pleasures of working with Pantene, Wella, Clairol, Bijou, Milky Way, Outre, Procter and Gamble have all been my portfolio clients. I'm kind of considered as the king of reciprocity, and that's really just bringing companies to the table to have serious discussions on how can they come back and support the very stylists who buy their product. And as a result of that, there's 8 television shows that have been inspired by the Golden Scissors Awards. We also have Golden Scissors Global, which we do in third world countries where we've done Dominican Republic, the Bahamas, and a variety of places, Busan, Korea, which mainly its goal is to really go recruit, search, seek, find amazing stylists around the world, bring them back to the United States where they can actually shine on our main stage.
Whoa. And how many years have you been doing this?
30 years. This year will be our
30.
30th year.
I got so many questions to ask you. Now,
I'm sure, like most people do, they're kind of like, didn't know that. No, yeah, there's three of us. I always tell people it's the Fantastic Three. We are all distinctly different in what our contributions have been to the industry. And they're from my list, which for other people, they may have their own list. But
mhm.
Bronner Brothers has always been one of my top tier community partners. In 1998, we were given the opportunity to produce the night show for Bronner Brothers, and over 13,000 stylists packed into the Georgia World Congress Center to see our presentation from DC. The late Daryl Bronner was the very first corporate sponsor that I had to bring the traveling show to Atlanta. And then, of course, there's Hump the Grinder, which did totally a different kind of show format than mine, but was the most noted nationally for the Ricky Lake, the Sally Jesse Raphael, for Paris. Hair Awards really was kind of like a novelty because when white people saw the hair of Hump the Grinder, they was always like, "Oh my God, did he just pull a chicken leg out of her ponytail?" And
Wow.
so they would always create this fabulous hair. And what I tell people all the time, people, another man trash is another man's treasures. So
That's right.
even though you may necessarily consider that to be the Chitlin circuit, as some people would call it, that Chitlin circuit had become so prominent around the world. People wanted to know, how did these black stylists create these amazing styles would limit the budget, because in most cases our community never had the funding to produce the haute couture hair productions that you saw on some of
Right.
the other brand stages.
Ooh, that's a lot.
It is.
I am, listen, I'm sitting here as you speaking, and I'm thinking back in the early 2000s
Hmm.
when I was fresh, a new hairstylist, and watching you. Remember, I kept saying you look like somebody, and I kept saying you like my cousin. But
Yeah.
when you said that, everything, I'm like, I seen him. I know who this is, and I am still in awe, and I would like to
That's funny.
thank you, because
Well, that's funny because I tell people, when we first came to TV1, we came
mhm,
to TV1 with the show called Tangles and Locks. And all you
okay,
saw for over a year was just the promo for the hair show.
right,
And I kept saying to myself, when are they going to show the show? When are they going to show the show? And about a year and a half later, it aired on national television. We were the first to really kind of migrate into this reality show. And really, it was one of those game changing kind of experience, because who gets an opportunity to have a 2 hour documentary about their lives on prime television? And the Golden Scissors debuted at that point, where people all over the world got a chance to see what we were doing in DC. And I tell people, so when people say, how can you identify, we were the social media of our times, because it was the one way
right,
stylists had the opportunity to gateway into the market where people can know their amazing style, brands, salons. And it just really, I said just last week that if social media was 20 years ago, the show probably would have never even got a light. But because it came at
mm,
a time when Black people did work together and they did believe in the salon experience, there were a lot of things that popped up along the way that changed the very vibe, emotions of Black salons. So
right,
we saw the progression of salon suites pop up all over the country,
mhm,
and people thought that was the best thing since sliced bread. But what
right,
it did was it really separated the hair community, because that camaraderie that people would have by working in a salon with people, building a business and a professional brand, that was no more.
right. Very, very, very true. That's some of the discussions we have on Beauty Pioneer. Can I ask you what what made you even create something like that? Like, what
Well,
was it for
me,
you?
the gateway for me was I was invited to a hair show in DC, and I at that time I was actually in the Navy, and so the commentator did not show up. And so the girl kind of lost it. The salon was called Erotica, and
Okay.
she lost it because their commentator didn't show up. And I said, well, what does a commentator do? She said,
Hmm.
they talk. I said, talk about what? She was like, hair. I said, well, I don't know shit about hair, but I can talk. And so I'll do it for you.
Hmm.
And they came on stage and I did the commentary, and they were just looking like they had just died and went to heaven. And I remember coming off stage and they're like, you killed it. This is, oh, they were so excited about, but it was something I had done previously before, not about hair, but I'd
Right.
always host and commentated my whole life. So it became a second nature. And that very year, I said, we need to do a show that
Hmm.
celebrates stylists, but we need to give them awards, and they couldn't be no everyday awards. They need to be
Right.
something spectacular. So we said, we'll give them golden scissors. And then the guy was like, well, where are we going to get the scissors from? I was like, I don't know. I got somebody to carve the scissors out of wood, and we would
Mhm.
gold leaf the wooden scissors to
Right.
create golden scissors. And as a result, we gave away thousands of them all over the United States over the last 30 years.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Glenn. I would have been pumping you yesterday when I saw you.
Oh.
And we was
No
eating lunch
need.
out
No
and just
need.
asking you so many questions.
And and whenever we do these kinds of things and we share people our story, people are like, you're just a walking television show waiting to happen. True.
Right.
Yes, true.
Right.
Because very few people can say, they've done Herella, Hertopia, Herbiz, Herlinium, Hermatrix, Herglam. All of those are shows we have created under the Golden Scissors umbrella. So, and it has always
Mhm,
been next level. And every
mhm.
single year that we would produce a show, the show would have an amazing title that we would brand and market for that year.
Right.
So people would go out and register the website of whatever show we coming up with because they know for a fact we're going to market that show for the year.
Mhm. Mm. Very, very good. Oh my gosh. I'm so okay. Question for you, because God definitely gave you that idea to say, hey, let's do this show, let's honor the hairstylist. How was it for you being a black man, right? In an industry that you really didn't really know nothing about, but you had a passion for it. And how was it when you came to the table with other people in the industry of other races? Like, how was that? How were you able to pierce, galvanize the
Well,
black community into that?
I was first a novice that was very inexperienced. And I had to really go in the ocean of piranhas to be really accepted in a capacity that we were serious in what we were
Right,
doing. The counterparts design the market all the time to make it appear as if what you're doing in the Black community is substandard, or what you're doing does not reach the plateau of what they're doing. The dollars that they were getting for Premiere and IBS, we were not getting that kind of funding. Okay.
right.
But we were measured by the same measuring stick because we were in convention centers just like those shows, paying the same exact bills. The only difference was we were Black. And
Mhm.
it was harder for us because in our community, we have a major problem. And Black people's major problem is they have trust issues.
Yes.
So if you are doing anything and it's done well, it must be a scam.
Mm, that's
You
true.
must be doing, you must
Right.
be doing so, and no, it's not a scam. It's something that I love doing, and I wanted to do it in the best of my capabilities while doing it. So I don't want to just do it in a club or a
Mhm.
side hall. I want to do it in convention centers because I know for a
Mhm.
fact we are worthy of that
Yes.
kind of star on stage. And so I remember the people at Entertainment Films came to me and the man said, I don't want you to think I'm racist, but I just got one question for you. And I was like, okay, what's the question? He
Mhm.
says, where do you get all of these beautiful Black women? And I said, it's really God because they
Uh-huh.
come to me. They come to me. And
Mhm.
so he was so amazed because they had never seen anything like that. And so when people say the best form of flattery is duplication, because before people tell you you're great, they just go out and copy what you're doing. That's
Right.
when you
Right.
know you're on point and you're on
Mhm.
mark for what you're
Mhm.
doing because you see all of these copycats
Mhm.
popping up around the country. You know, I often was surprised because at one point, almost every Fortune 500 hair brand that was, and we're talking brands that were making 150, 175 million per year in hair. At one point, all five of the top five was my client at the same time,
Wow.
and which was had never ever been done before because they're again they had worked with Black people so long they
Mhm.
also had trust issues.
Right.
So they really thought, okay, he's going to take some kind of trade secret and he's going to share it with my competition. But
Mm-mm.
I had such a solid reputation of being a person of integrity that just never had the play, and they just kept coming in spite of it all.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's Don. Oh my God.
So, those were some of the milestones. We created the show Hair Idol with the singer Brandy. That was a
Uh-huh.
five city tour. It started in cities all over the country. We gave away $210,000 directly back to stylists.
So, because I'm just in awe. I'm gonna keep saying this because the more you talk, I'm thinking, and I can't even fathom what I'm thinking is probably not even a percent
Hmm.
of what you have actually done and continue to do. Because in our world, we have a doggy dog world.
It is.
It's cutthroat in
It
business,
is.
whether it's beauty industry or whatever. This is the world that we live in.
It is.
And I'm still this how when you know that it's something higher than you,
Hmm.
because you could have went and did any industry.
Hmm.
The gift that is in you, you used it. And I'm like, how did you get to the point? Oh my gosh, is she giving me the answers on the phone? Don, log on. Oh God. Yeah. But when I think about the impact that you have made, and I know it was
Hmm.
others included in that, but the what is that word I'm saying? You were the face of many of us. A lot of us did not know people like you were in the rooms fighting for us.
Oh, and they had no idea
Mhm.
because all they thought during the time I was doing the hair show that Glenn Jackson is rich. He's got plenty money. And so they often looked at me as this person that had all the opportunities because all
Uh-huh.
of the sponsors were coming to me.
Right.
But it really was just the opposite because I had to literally go into the convention centers and fight for
Mhm.
positioning because they often always thought we were fly by night. We wasn't going to pay
Right.
our bills. We couldn't afford convention centers. We couldn't afford labor or
You
rigging.
didn't
They
understand the
couldn't they couldn't
business.
fathom the thought that these companies were spending like $500,000 on these shows. So having money to do them and orchestrating was never an issue for me at no point because the companies took really, really good care of me. And so I often say to people, like we have this culture now, which wasn't a culture during the time we was doing the show, that there is this culture that if you as a black person don't like something, we will just boycott, right?
Right.
And so that's the culture. I'm going to boycott you so nobody
Mhm.
gives you any business. But when I was doing business, boycott was not even something on the subject because
Mhm.
I know you ain't going nowhere. I ain't going nowhere. But
Right.
the one thing I can guarantee is we going to spend some money, you going to make some money, and you still need to take some of that money and put it back into our communities.
Mm.
Those are where we kind of can go left. And so I can see events and I can see the power of things like Essence and see all of these thousands of people descending on New Orleans. And they say, oh, it's a free show. Okay. I get that it's free. I get
Mhm.
that they're giving away free products. But guess what? Maybe I need to charge a ticket for you to come to Essence and take that money and give scholarships out. Every dime we make, since we don't want it,
Right.
we take it and we do scholarships so we can continue the process of personal growth. But we get in this situation
Mhm.
where we are so caught up in pomp and circumstances, we never get to the meat and potatoes of what needs to happen so we can move forward.
Glenn, and this is something that I'm I I'm I pay attention to the beauty world now. I love the fact that you brought up the whole boycott thing as well, because I have I have to play the devil's advocate, because I don't know why we think that that is the thing to it, and a lot of us is not even doing it. They not even
First
on
of
follow
all,
through
first of
because
all, we as a community don't understand what boycott look like, right?
Come on. Come
We
on.
don't get a clear scope. We know it by the popularity of people online that
Mhm.
make it popular. But what does it take to make a boycott effective? For
Mhm.
me, if I think we're in a boycott and I see Jay-Z is launching music at Target and we still go out and buy it, are we in a boycott?
No.
If I see we're at Essence and Target has the biggest pavilion at Essence, well, what, are we still in the boycott? And the answer is the boycott is conveniently used for those people who are the most affected, who
Hmm.
can really use the resources to build their business, being distracted by a boycott, while the upper echelons are building businesses and making profits off of our ignorance.
Woo!
And
You
that's the
better speak
facts.
that. That's
That's just
facts.
the facts. That's what it is. So if we had to look, and I love Rich Lou Dennis. I produce the MGM Grand Show in Las Vegas for their brand. So I love what he's doing. I'm inspired by what he's doing. But at the same token, when I see Amazon, I see Coca-Cola, I see all of these people at the show, and all of them, there are challenges as it relates to how they treat us as a community. So the
Mhm.
question still lies, are we in a boycott or not? And so a lot of times, I felt, and I'm just being very transparent.
Which we
When
love.
people say they were boycotting the Asian beauty supply stores, right? So it was all contingent on what happened in South Carolina at a gas station.
Right.
They had nothing to do with nail artists, nothing. So if I'm boycotting for that reason, then fine. Black businesses need to be able to accommodate the service. They
That's
need
right.
to represent the price points. They need
Mm-hmm.
to be available when I need to get my nails done. I'm not waiting 4 weeks to pay you $100.
Right.
So at the end of the day, we have to come up with systems that work, or if not, we're wasting our time.
Absolutely. Glenn, I love everything that you are saying. I'm in 100% agreement. I have been stressing this because for me, I see our people saying, hey, we boycotted, but are you prepared
Yes.
to service people? Because people like me or people that I know, they walk-in is a walk-in. You can't tell us to call to see if you accepting walk-ins today.
Yes.
No, 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 no. That's not how it works. And I
when
said,
I'm when
why?
I'm already on a fixed income
Come
with
on,
about $35 to spend, but your full set is 100.
come on.
And so if I can't afford it, does that mean
Right,
I'm not supporting you? Maybe financially, I just don't have it.
right.
And so people don't really understand how business acumen works within our community. So yeah, I want to go and buy your food from your soul food restaurant, but your
Hmm.
prices are so outrageous. I can buy 3 dinners at the price I'm paying you, and you're telling me you
Hmm.
a boss. And if I tell you I can't afford it, I'm a hater. Like,
Right.
we really need to have a discussion on how to function in business where everybody wins.
Do is it really just a discussion? I think that, like you said about the ignorance of it, is the fact that a lot of us, I think this the salon suites, when you brought that up too and talk about the separation, you have a
Hmm.
lot. The culture today is you can't tell them anything,
Hmm.
right? Because you don't have the business sense, and you're looking at what's happening today. You When you making decisions like that
Hmm.
about business and boycott and all these things, you are not just thinking for today. You have to think outside of the box instead of figuring out a way where all everybody can eat, right?
Yeah.
You're what you're doing, and they are the beauty, they are the suppliers. I
Yeah.
just we just Don and I just had a young lady on a couple of weeks ago that said they're not even they because you boycott, and guess what? They say, well, you're not getting our supplies.
Yes.
So it has to, like you said, it has to be a discussion But I think one of the biggest issues is that when you look at the culture that we had in back in that time that you're speaking of,
Mhm.
we held each other accountable. Your
Yep.
skill sets had to be at a certain level in order for
Yep.
somebody even to speak for you. Like you said to me, I am only doing this interview because of Dawn,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that says something about her name, right?
Yeah.
And so
Mhm.
we are in the beauty world today where the people, the hairstylists are behaving as if they're doing you a favor or there's some type
Mhm.
of celebrity
Yep.
where they're charging, yes, the outrageous prices. The service is bad, no customer service skills, no business
Mhm.
skills. You're booking clients. We just had this young lady who lost her life and she was pregnant, right? Lost her life over a $15 deposit for an
Mhm.
eyelash eyelashes.
Mhm.
She was doing a deal on $20 eyelashes.
Mhm.
You see what I mean? So the mindset of what's going on in our culture in the beauty world
Yeah.
has to be studied, and a lot of changes have to make. And I get it. I just had somebody tell me I was miserable because I said, dear, just explaining to her that's a bad practice. You can't do bleach your hair to a level 10 from a level 1 and then run a
Mhm.
relaxer through it. Your
Mhm.
hair is going to break off. But and others are saying, well, it's still on the hair, what you did. But it's
Mhm.
my job to hold you accountable and say, hey, are you even licensed? You should not
Exactly.
be giving this type of
What
advice.
90% of the people have graduated from YouTube. So they have automatically made themselves an authority in the
Mm,
space. And so then the consumer, on the other hand,
mhm,
supports them where they will go and pay a novice $1,000 for a lace front,
mm,
and they go to a licensed stylist who worked in the industry for over 30 years
mm.
that have a cosmetology license and complain about what they're paying them. So there is a very, very disconnect, a
Yes.
breakdown, and I was telling someone before, when we started doing the bigger shows, it was only until we started garnishing Koreans as clients, because we
Mm,
had always did big shows, but
right.
never had companies came to us and said, here's the money to sponsor and fund this show, except the Koreans. And the Koreans did it in such a way, it left the industry with their mouths open. All of
Mm,
the white major conglomerates were just like in awe, because they were not spending like a little bit, they were spending millions. And they were packing venues like the McCormick Place in Chicago. Over
yes.
10,000 people showed up. So
Wait, wait, wait.
The Koreans were not playing with,
Wait, so the
and no one.
Koreans, I'm sorry, I just want to make sure I'm understanding this. You're saying that the Koreans were the one that were investing
Yes,
into our
yes,
shows?
yes.
Mm,
They're the ones. They're the only ones out of the
wow.
30-year span that spent that kind of money saying thank you to the stylist. And almost every last one of those shows were free to the public. They did not charge black hairstylists a dime to come through those doors.
Never
And
heard of that.
all they wanted to do was say thank you to the customer for their business. Nobody had ever done that before.
Glenn, it's the first
But
time I'm ever hearing that.
yeah, yeah, it's facts. And so, but again, we are so brainwashed with fraudulent information. We
Right.
don't know. Yeah,
Mm,
I worked for Clairol. Yeah, I worked for Procter and Gamble. Yeah,
mm.
I worked for all of the big boys. But I'm here to tell you, they did not spend the money like the Koreans. No, ma'am, that did not happen.
So I have another question for you because I did Don and I did a show about this. I went and tried to look up the history of how like Cream of Nature got started, and
Mm-hmm,
we gave a lot of information on that.
hmm
What is your take on like daughter, what's her name, the one who a lot of the I understand the business side of things, like, hey, you got to
hmm
make the money, right? You create a
hmm
product, they buy it. what is your take on like these bigger companies like Procter and Gamble, Clairol, those different ones, right? What do you think about them buying out the product and then like Mazzani for one?
Yeah.
Mazzani was Mazzani at one time, the early 2000s, they were really doing well. Then they switched over. I think
Hmm.
it's I'm not sure if it's who it is. It might be Procter and Gamble, but they switched over, and then the product changed. And
Yeah.
then I've seen it with my own eyes being in salons where they had to stop using that product because what is it that the when they purchase our products, right, that we created,
Hmm.
what is it that they do, and how does do you think that it affects us when they change anything in a great way or a
Hmm.
bad way on the business side
Well,
and
on the business side, as a business,
mm-hmm,
you are in this and you're in it to win.
mm,
And so when you cultivate a brand to like that of a Mazzani or that of a Mael or that of a
yeah,
Camille Rose or that of a Main Choice, and you can cash out at over $100 million acquisition, you're winning. Okay.
exactly,
You're winning.
mm-hmm,
So in most cases, they will pay the CEO to stay on board as the CEO. But
right,
where the problem come in is they start to change the formula.
right,
And so once the formula changes, the product results changes and it becomes a problematic situation. To me, the customer, I'm mad at the founder who created it, but it's
mm,
really not their company anymore. So you're spending all of your time trying to defend the health benefits of this product. You're not even the owner anymore.
mm,
But we don't see that. We don't really see that. And so in the 30 years we were doing the show, people knew what we were doing. We
right.
were sending out products and sponsorship packages to these black companies. They would not spend a dime. Okay.
I didn't know
They
that.
only spend money in areas where they think they can be self glorified. The
Mm-hmm,
BETs, the
right,
Ebonies, they're going to spend money there because they already think they have an established net market value to reach consumers. But the people out there that's really doing the grass work, they're not going to get a dime. And that's where the Koreans kind of did business different. And
mm,
so they came in and saw that that was an untapped market, and they started utilizing those people to create their vision. But unlike the white companies, the Koreans didn't need any of the white counterparts to advertise their platform because they did their own printing. They had their own distribution. They used their own Asian beauty supply stores to promote it.
mm,
Whereas the white companies had to use the Ebony or the Jet or television. They didn't have to do that. And were they mad about it? Hell yeah, they were pissed off about it
mm-hmm,
because
mm-hmm,
they couldn't understand why these Koreans were getting all of this traction. And they was getting all of this traction because they were doing the work. And so I don't even want to get emotional because it opens up. I have PTSD and it opened up some crazy memories. But I will tell you an experience just so you can kind of get the gist of it. I was working for a company out of Cerritos, California. They go by the name of Indie Remy. Okay.
okay,
Indie Remy is the creators of Bobby Boss. Okay. Uh huh. They're the Bobby Boss brand. The model that they utilized in the promotion was Beverly Johnson's wigs. That's
that's
where
right,
most people are kind of known, right?
uh-huh,
The man spent about $900,000 on these shows. And so when we came into Bronner, he wanted everything in the pavilion to be white carpet, white chairs, white
mm,
staging.
mm-hmm,
And in previous years, when we would do stuff, we could just throw our hands up in the air and people would be like, ooh, that's nice. That was not good enough for him,
right,
not for Black women.
mm-hmm,
He wanted it to be the best of the best. And we
mm,
were giving away money directly to stylists. And in the midst of that, we got sued. So they sued us, sued me, sued them, and said we were violating their brand because we called it Hair Boss. And they
Wow.
had a website called Hair Boss. They never used that website, not one day. But they saw we were
Mm.
doing something for the community, and they saw a way that they could cash in, and they sued for money. So the
Whoa.
road is never, people think, oh, it's all peachy cream. It's not. So contrary to other people, my thought process of the way I think is totally different.
Mm.
And I told the founder, along with the show manager at Bronner Brothers, when they asked me, they said, Glenn, let me ask you a question, and I just need your opinion. Chris Rock want to do this show
Mm. Good hair.
called Good Hair,
Hmm.
and he want to use Bronner Brothers. Do you think we should do it? Absolutely not, unless you're getting paid for it.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, they're taking your 70-year experience, your
Mm.
contributions, they're cashing in on it, and they're selling you that they're going to give you exposure while they get paid. That's not fair. And
Wow.
little did they know, of course, they decided not to go with my recommendations, and they decided to do it anyway.
And
And
look
it
what happened.
dissolved the
That's
whole entire beauty industry.
that's right. You are absolute. You cooking with
I'm
grease.
just Yeah.
Woo.
So Dudley's went out of business.
That's
All of
right.
these people,
Hmm.
because they then made this big deal out of lye product being put in hair relaxers. So it just literally it turned over the whole black hair industry as a result of one movie. And so it just goes to show you, and you can't tell me that if you're gonna do a documentary on black hair care, you can't find one professional black salon in America. I find that very hard to believe. You're not gonna find it if you don't look for it.
Right. And we have plenty of them.
They got plenty of them.
The stuff that you was seeing.
It's
Listen,
been a lot.
and Dawn is texting me. She like, Lee, I can't even. She can't even. I don't know what that is, but she
Okay.
cannot get on, which makes no sense.
Yeah, it's okay.
I
But
don't know what that is, and
it's fine. But I'm just, I just am very transparent. But my career has changed a lot, and I thank God for all of those horrible experiences
mhm,
because it's made me who the person I am. Because literally,
absolutely.
when I started working for P&G, I was only the subcontractor for an
Mm,
ad agency out of New York.
okay.
And so my work really was hired by the agency to produce the show for P&G. So, but P&G was the one that was paying all the money to the agency. But guess who got to do all the work? Me.
You.
And then when it was time to be acknowledged for the work we did, they got the national awards for excellence. I was just a
Woo.
byproduct of getting them there. So after that experience, I opened up my own agency.
Right.
And from that point, I never would have imagined that I would get the kind of clients that I've got over the years, spending the kind of money that they would spend. But it's right now, it's undisputed that it has been the best of the best experience for years. Because I never thought. Now I remember asking one of my Korean clients, I was like, "Why do y'all pick me?" And
Right.
they said, "We've been studying you for years. You are a person we can trust, and you're a
Mm,
person of integrity. Whatever you say you're going to do, you're
you
going to
gonna
do."
do
And that's what I tried to live to.
it.
What is wrong? I don't know what's wrong.
I don't know. I know people are tuning in. I don't know if people understand the value that this young man carries right now. I don't,
Yeah.
Glenn, you have, and Don was talking, but I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I didn't know
Yeah.
about Don, you know what I mean? And I'm like, okay, okay, we're gonna do is Glynn gonna go. He's like,
I
honey,
just, I, you
you
know,
just you just
I'm
sit back
like,
just like, yeah,
I
oh
tell everybody, I could not have even made this stuff up. You know what I'm saying? Because Don will tell you that when I came to Miami,
mm-hmm.
we were working on a show at the James L. Knight Center in
Okay.
Miami.
Uh-huh.
And the James L. Knight Center in Miami, we produced a show. We had over 8,000 people show up here in
Mm-hmm.
Florida. We
Mm-hmm.
called it Election Sunday. It was the Sunday before Barack Obama became president.
Okay.
And I mean, it was like nothing we'd ever seen before because we had gotten stylists to engage and picking up customers and taking them to the polls. And it was
Mm-hmm.
just one of those phenomenal experiences. And there was a company in Florida named Bijou. And so
I
Bijou
know about
was
that.
our
Mm-hmm.
sponsor
That's right.
from the Florida area. And then I met Don.
Wait a minute. Wait, stop.
Uh-huh.
That was the weave company, right? I think they had it
Exactly.
was like they had
They
the
did primarily was braid hair.
ooh,
Yeah.
listen, wait, I gotta stop you. I know you're about to go into that. One of the girls said, I think he needs to do a docu series. Glenn, you see that? You need to do I the treasures that you carrying around with you.
Yeah. It's been
That
a
is
it's
Dudley used to have some awesome products back in the day. I was surprised
mm,
they went under. And I know you about to get into Don, and Don texting me, I'm madly. I know you about to tell me about that, but I wanted to say, I'm kind of innocent. I'm so elated and happy that you even came on, but I'm grieving
mm-hmm.
because I can feel or I
Yeah.
understand as you speaking. I can't even think on the mindset that you had to have in that time to be where you are today. Whether if you
Yeah.
left it, the secrets,
Yeah.
the humility you had to walk in. All
Yeah.
right, the humbleness. That's why you're so humble.
Yeah.
Um, the patience, and I guarantee you didn't get it from the other. You got it from us.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was and it was difficult
Hmm.
because we are a thankless community, right?
Yes.
And so you can put people first in your business and put yourself last. And
Right.
they will just take. And they never get to the point where, like, what can I do to make your
Right.
journey easier? It just doesn't work like that. I mean,
Right.
uh, yeah, it was a flex doing convention centers, but it was a horrible experience. And
I
they
can.
treated us dirty, you know, along the ways.
When you say they, are you speaking of us or all?
The management of
Yeah.
those centers, because they didn't want our business in there in the
And,
first place.
and
And here we are thinking we're something important, and they're seeing thousands and thousands of people. And you've worked hard for your event to be
yes,
successful, and
yes,
they've called the fire marshal in the middle of the show to shut the show down just because. I mean,
man.
just being black is just a journey.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a journey. And so, you just kind of just have
Mm. Oh, come on, y'all. I know y'all playing with me. Please bring him back to the stage. I know y'all playing with me. Let's see if he come back on, guys. I'm gonna read this. He's gonna come back on. That's some heavy stuff for you that don't understand what this man is talking about and what he brings to the table. I'm gonna go ahead and read some of Keisha's stuff. Keisha said, I used to love Miss Jessie. Me too, Keisha. And my family members loved Carol's daughter. That's who I was talking about, Carol's daughter. But when they went mainstream, the formula changed and we stopped buying the product. Right. And that's something that I wanted to ask him. And I hope I get, hold on. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm talking to Don. Hopefully, we can get him back on the set. Hold on. Let me see if I can add him back on. I don't know why I blacked out like that. Let me see if I can get him back on, y'all. All right, I'm gonna stay here, and we actually coming to a close. Hopefully, he come back, y'all. I don't know if you guys understand what I'm saying, and forgive me. I have not been. We have not been live. I've moved. I got a great place, and I really wasn't even gonna come live now that he go there, y'all. But he was in town, so I had to add him. Hey, Glynn,
Hey.
you listen.
Hmm.
I'm to Dawn. Let me read what Dawn said because she can't. She said, I've tried everything on this end. So she's trying to get on y'all. For those of y'all, I know y'all like, what Dawn at? He
Hmm.
is the industry. She said, you are the industry. And of course, you don't do hair or makeup.
Yeah.
Amazing, amazing person and a dear friend. He's going to set the stage. And Glenn, when I tell you, we you done set this thing on fire, and what you have done, you are allowing me and others to see the heart
Yeah.
of this industry. And I'm gonna tell you something. It's something I used to tell my children. And I feel like that towards the industry today. That's why I have a major problem of the way things are today. When my kids would act up in school, I would say to them, do you know the things that your ancestors had to go
Hmm.
through for you to
Hmm.
walk in there and act like a fool?
Yeah.
And I had to stress the importance, and I show videos. My kids be like, "Oh my God, this lady!" I take it to that level because we're taking. I think that the industry today, and
Hmm.
the black hairstylists. I'm talking to you guys, and you can come for me. I'm always ready for the smoke.
Hmm.
But I feel like they take everything for granted and they
Hmm.
want things easy and they have no idea of the blood and the sweat and the things that we have done for you to be able to walk into doors, whether it's black, white, or whatever, and be somebody as a hairstylist. People disrespect
Hmm.
our industry, and
Of
it's
course.
more so of our own people.
Yep.
And when they don't understand something, and when you
Hmm.
said that, I said, yeah, they did. You got rejected. You went through a lot that you're
Yeah.
not even saying. And
Oh
a lot
yeah.
of the reason, especially when I'm speaking to my people, when we don't understand something, we will drag it. We
Yeah.
talk bad about it.
Of
We don't
course.
trust it, like you said. And we are the people that are trying to open doors for you, worst enemy.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't support. There's crabs in the bucket. We have a lot of jealousy. I don't care about the other. I'm talking about my people.
Yeah.
This platform has been created for not just the beauty industry, for the clients as well, and for people to have an eye opening and
Yeah.
understand who we are and try to connect the two, the clients and the professionals.
Yeah.
But Glenn, you can
And
only
you
do so much, and you've done so much.
and I tell people something that I think it's priceless to me. To say that we've done a business for 30 plus years, and in the 30 years we have done the hair show, the police has never had to come out to the hair show, not one
Mm.
time.
Whoa. I don't know if it's what is that? That might be us. Oh my God. Y'all. You don't want this message out. That's all I can tell y'all. If you are in the beauty industry and y'all see what's going on, they don't want this. They don't want this. They don't want this smoke. Keisha said, very great interview tonight. I miss my Dawn. Where is she at? Dawn is having login issues. And that was her actually calling because we're having login issues. And I'm trying, and I know it can't be. Is it mine or is it on your side, Glynn?
I just someone dialed in, and it kind of, I don't
Oh,
know if you can see me.
I
Okay,
can see you
I'm
now.
back.
Yeah, I can
Okay,
see you
yeah.
now. I'm telling Dawn to log in, at least go on YouTube and we can talk that way. Maybe she can
Uh-huh.
put her comments in that way. Um, Keisha says, great interview tonight. I miss my Dawn. Where's she at? Thanks to your guests for educating us tonight. Glynn,
Mhm.
I I listen. I'm listening to what you're saying, and I'm listening to what you're not saying.
Yeah.
And
Well, I was making a very valid point that I wanted
go
to
ahead.
share,
Go
and
ahead.
the point is that in 30 years, we never had one infraction where the police had to come and escort anybody out, and we're talking thousands of people, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it only attributed to the respect that people had for me,
Mm,
right?
right.
And because they had so much respect for me in that space, we
Mm-hmm.
never had an issue. In today's society, Black women are programmed to think they are the enemy. And so it is so disheartening to see the amount of violence that is pushed from Black woman to Black woman. And
Yeah.
surprisingly, you ask yourself the question, why,
Mm-hmm.
when Black women are the most intelligent in the whole entire spectrum of this country? But it
Mm.
is designed like that to make them feel that they're less than.
Ooh.
So it's so important for Black women to know their value, you
Mm.
know, because
Mm-hmm.
when they know their value, they're never going to be allowed to put themselves in a situation where they're the person egging on a fight of
Mm.
another sister. They're just not going to be that person. So something somewhere has gone just
Yeah.
wrong in our messaging of what's important.
So, um, Glenn, in this day and time, what you see now, I don't, and hopefully you can share what you have going on now. Where do you see? Because you told a little bit about the women going against one another and so on. Do you see that this industry is going to get better? Will it get worse? How do you see it? And just be as plain as possible.
Of course, for me,
Mhm.
I am happily retired. Happily, okay.
Oh,
I still do some consulting for companies occasionally, for clients that I've known for a long period of time.
uh-huh.
But I am very, very concerned about, the whole spectrum of the hair industry and its value, because, the part of the greed part is the part that have supersede most people in this space, because even though we see all these success stories of Black owned businesses that are doing well within the space, they don't
Mm-hmm.
do nothing for nobody. They selfish, they're self-serving. The
Yep.
problem becomes a problem when they have to do something to support you. Then it's a problem.
Mm. Right.
But long as you supporting them and you spending money with them, they cool. But the
Right.
minute they got to come out and take some kind of responsibility and support you, it becomes a different relationship. And so we as a community have to start holding companies accountable for
Mhm.
reciprocity. That
Yes.
means every single company that is making money off of our space in our community have a
Mm.
responsibility to the same community that spend their dollars.
How does reciprocity be gained? Like, where do we start at to
It
even to?
needs to be something that's integrated in the business portfolio, that when you create businesses that are successful, there is some kind of community engagement that needs to happen right along with that marketing. That's something you need to do. There need to be an action item that needs to happen. Something. Be big, small, but there needs to be something more than you just being a person who is
Mm,
being successful in this country and you're just a taker. And we're
right.
not talking about people who jump on the bandwagon of social media on
Mm,
anything that's popular at the time because they think
right.
they're going to get some clout with their involvement. This is the kind of involvement you need to exercise every single day if you're in a
Mm.
financial situation and can.
You on fire. Oh my
I don't
God.
know about
Oh my
anybody who know
God.
me know. It's just, I've been the same way the last 30 years.
Listen, and this is the thing. That's what Beauty Pioneers. When Don and and I know you're gonna. I want you to tell your story about Don, but Don was doing makeup for this movie that I was a part of, and we just started talking, just like how you are. And we was like, we on to something. And eventually
Hmm.
we connected and was like, hey, let's do Beauty Pioneers where we can share with the people so they can understand what's going on behind the scenes or what's relevant today, what's happening in our community, and kind of give them business sense because a lot of us, struggle in that area, and just the industry as a whole. And
Hmm.
we don't get the support that I believe. We have put out some real heavy information, and
Hmm.
it is exactly what you say. You have those that are just going to copy you. They're going to
Yeah.
copy what it is, or they're going to speak against it, or they're not
Or
going
they're
to
gonna
watch
speak
it
bad
all.
about you.
Right. They're
Exactly.
not. But I think that when you understand your call in life, that's what you did. You understood. I'm like, you had nothing to do with, you didn't know nothing about no hair.
Nothing.
But
Nothing.
he had you as one of the men to come into an industry and introduce your people, right,
Hmm.
to the world. And then he had you to teach your people the value that they have. When
Hmm.
you went in there and you fought and you created golden scissors, all those different things,
Hmm.
what you did, that's what we're looking for today, and I don't see it.
Hmm.
And even with Beauty Pioneers, people think, and I had to tell them, listen, I'm not attacking you.
Hmm.
I want to help you. Right
Yeah.
now, women, we lead in traction alopecia, hair loss.
Yeah.
Guess what? And I had a video here where the guy says, this is another race of people, says, he's a hairstylist. He said, the industry now, one of the most important things is they care about scalp health and hair health.
Hmm.
But our women get upset when we say, hey, that how you wearing the quick weave and all that stuff is destroying your hair. They
Hmm.
want to look like you. We get the pushback.
Hmm.
And so, and we nowhere near what you was in. You I don't know how. Well, you a Gemini anyway. But
Hmm.
the boldness in you really changed the game. I wish you didn't retire, but I definitely
Yeah.
understand you need to know when it's time to walk away. And I
Yeah.
think that you've done
Yeah.
that.
And I wanted to walk away on top. And
Right.
so when I ended up saying I was going into retirement, it was only because I had really put so many years into doing the hair show every year consecutively, nonstop. And you get tired when you have to keep motivating people the same story when they clearly know what you do. And instead of them coming on board, they
Mhm.
become the number one nemesis for what you're
Right.
doing. And it's
Right.
like, okay, so where is the problem? The problem is I'm making money, in your opinion. So because I'm making money, you have an issue with that. And so
Right.
that has a lot to do with why I'm getting all of this crazy energy
Mhm.
because as a stylist, you get some stylists who will look at what you're doing and they'll look at it like it's beneath them, but they'll go to
Right.
IBS and Premiere and they will glorify this platform. And when you get there, I'm like, okay, you've told me what you're doing in this space is better than what I'm doing, but I have
Mm.
a question for you. Why do they have you jacked off in a corner somewhere when nobody can see you?
Oh, oh
And
my
they're calling it an urban pavilion, but you're in the corner, in the back of the show. You're not getting main stage presence.
God. Glenn. Now, and Don is on here. Shout out to Don. Hey, family. Don and I had this conversation, and I stopped going to the shows. And I'm
Yeah.
gonna tell you, that is the number one reason. Anybody on here could tell you, yeah, Coach Lee, I have asked that. Why is it? Well, even Bronner Brothers, it got to a point when I come in, we are over
Mhm,
in the corner, all the way in the back.
mhm.
I don't see no shows. I
Yeah.
don't see no nothing. All the other people are right there in the front, and all. And I saw it for few years. Now that you
Mhm.
brought up Good Hair, that show, that movie, everything ties in and makes sense because I just wanted somebody to answer why are we all the way in the back?
Yeah.
But we are
And
the greatest
and
supporters and defenders.
Bronner Brothers
Mhm.
story is the most compelling of
Mm.
everybody's story, right?
Why do you say
Because
that?
Nathaniel Bronner, the father of the Bronner brothers, his
Mhm.
whole concept was to bring these shows to light where people would come together and network and be able to exchange information.
Right.
Bronner had always fallen into a trap because they were at the Georgia World Congress Center, which was an enormous financial undertaking. And
Mm.
so once the companies, and they do this, once the companies kind of correlated among themselves, they were no longer going to come up and show a big presence at Bronner. They financially could not maintain the structure of a
Mm.
Georgia World Congress Center.
Whew.
So they tried very hard to salvage what they had by adding these pocketbook vendors and eyeglass vendors and other
Yeah.
things just to supplement the income to be able to pay to execute the opportunity. And it just didn't happen. And they know it. You can't expect to compete against an IBS where they're spending almost $200,000 on a pavilion and they
That's
coming to you trying to give you 1,500.
so crazy.
Those are the hard number facts. And then you think like most of the big companies, here's what they do.
Mhm.
They hire these black Ivy League supposed to be most intelligent people and they become brand managers, but they
Mhm.
don't know shit about the urban community. They don't
Yes.
know nothing.
Yes, sir.
So they relate to a white satire. Okay,
Mhm.
so all this stuff about the people that they're trying to service, they're so out of tune with.
Mhm.
So if it ain't essence or something to that magnitude, they're not going to put no real dollars behind it. So the people who are really, really out there doing it, they never get the financial dollars to really see their dreams come to light because they don't get the support.
Whew.
And that's just the facts. And
So
people will say, well, there's a black brand manager, but if the black brand manager is not in touch with the community, it's pointless.
now, and I can speak because I think I've shared with you that I was a brand manager for Peter
Mhm.
Coppola,
Yeah.
but I was the only black girl.
Mhm.
The platform that they gave me was never in our arena.
Mhm.
So I know what you're saying is absolutely the truth. A lot of the people, they don't need you. They This is the thing with me. This is the thing that I pay attention to and I see and let me know if I'm wrong. That is just so when I think back to Cream of Nature or
Mhm.
The only one I see that hasn't sold out is Design Essentials. All
Mm.
right. And Brown Brothers, all those different ones, is that they didn't invest in us, but then they brought the business. Is that what you're saying? I'm just saying in
Well,
a
what happened is a lot of times they did not take money to cultivate the community that they were servicing. They were servicing the community by
Mhm.
selling stuff to the community, but they were not pouring into that same community.
Right.
When you are a brand and you're trying to create brand loyalty, there
Mhm.
needs to be some kind of
Mm,
integration to the concept of you are my customer and I value you. So
mm,
that's why when you go to an agent supply store and the agent supply owner sees the stylist and he starts a conversation with them like they're friends.
right.
Girl, how is your baby daddy? Or whatever the conversation is. But they put you in a point where you're communicating with them. Our community, we become successful and we totally forget how we got there.
That's right.
We don't want no association with this community. We want to associate with the other folk, but the other folks ain't the ones who point into our business.
Whoa.
They're just not. And so
Oh.
I would laugh because I had a mentor,
Hmm.
and she's still my mentor to this day. One of the most phenomenal businesswomen that I know in Black hair culture. Her name is Clarissa Wilson. Okay.
Okay.
Clarissa Wilson was the former president of Carol's daughter. She was
Oh,
also the president of Mazzani. She was also president
y'all. Oh my God. Somebody must be calling Glenn. Every time he get to the meat, y'all see that?
I'm
Uh, I
sorry.
still hear you. I still hear you. Hold
I,
on. Let me see if
this
I can
this
get you back
phone
on.
is
Keep
doing.
going. They don't want it, y'all. They don't want it. I'm telling you. This is a great interview. All right. So we're gonna wait for Mr. Jackson to get back. Whoo. So y'all, do you understand now? So these products, we got these big companies that he gonna finish it. Finish us off, Glenn. Finish us.
Okay. All right. Well, I can. Do you see me? Okay, I'm here.
I see
Okay.
you.
Sorry.
Yes.
It's just people are constantly calling, but
Mhm.
she was one of the most phenomenal people, and I would be amiss if I would say not, but she was the first Black woman to give me $25,000 in sponsorship. The first in
Mm,
30 years. So I have nothing but the utmost respect, and she has always remained my mentor. And I use her as a template because it's so important um, to share with people, because with Clarissa Wilson, she was the person that had us to work for L'Oreal Paris, you know,
mm,
on Fifth Avenue, right?
mm-hmm.
And when we went to that building on Fifth Avenue she as the president of Mazzani, she walked through that building like she owned the place.
Ooh.
Okay. And so we would get the biggest kiki because we would sit in the lobby and wait till she come through every day because we knew she was gonna give them something to talk about. And
Real boss move.
that's that black girl magic
Right.
that drives them crazy because Black women just have they just have that it factor, right?
Mm, right.
But she was far and few between because a lot of those other companies could have did the same, and they didn't see the value.
Mm, mm,
And then when it was all over, 90% of them was mad. 90% of them were mad. And they called us everything from sell out, you selling out for the Koreans. No, I'm not selling out for the Koreans. They paying
right.
these bills.
Oh, right.
Let's not get it twisted. When I come here, they giving me limousine service. They giving me
Mm,
5-star hotels. I ain't
mhm,
got. They see the value, which is
mm.
something that our community a lot of times we just don't see the value.
Don't see it. But we will allow others to use us too,
Yes,
and get what for nothing.
for nothing, nothing.
We're very caught up in titles.
Yes,
I pay
yes.
attention to you. You never. I was like, well, what are you? I'm Glenn Jackson.
Yeah. I don't, because I always tell my grandma used to always tell me, you only as good as your last gig.
Mm.
So, you good today, you're not tomorrow. But I've always tell people that, in the journey of life, I always carry tennis shoes in the back of my car. Because if this car breaks down on me, I'm gonna get these tennis shoes out and I'm gonna walk the rest of the way. I'm okay. I'm
So
okay.
these are the last two questions because Glenn, I'm not gonna lie. I will keep you on here for 3 hours because I am just blown away. It's like, you know how God send you a blessing and you don't even know it's the blessing? That's what happened to me, y'all. I was with this man from yesterday. We had an event that we went to for the beautiful Dawn Ferguson and her husband. And I'm like just in there talking to him. He's just like, hey, don't know that this man is carrying treasures. You really do need to write a book or
Yeah.
do a docu-series because the information that you have, some even if it's one person, it's gonna change their life.
Yep.
You have a few books in you,
Yeah.
Mr. Jackson.
Yeah.
But I wanted to say these are the last two questions I'm going to ask you.
Okay.
What was your worst experience in our industry? If you can talk about it. If you can't, then just say I can't. And
Hmm.
I guess, is this your best industry? I mean, best thing that happened to you was Miss Clarissa?
Uh, yeah, she was probably one of my epiphanies because she restored value for me
Mm-hmm.
for being valued by your own community. Because
Mm-hmm.
I was loved doing the shows, but
Mm-hmm.
there was never a situation where there was ever any value because everybody would always be like, "Oh, that's just Glenn. He does the hair show." They
Right.
never put a handle on the amount of work that I had put into it. And
Mm-hmm.
I'd seen some of these people in the same places and spaces, and some of them, were supposedly my colleagues and my dear friends. But
Mm-hmm.
I would see them and they would go and volunteer, you know,
Mm-hmm.
to go and do the Oscars or go and do IBS or premiere for
Mm-hmm.
free, pay their own way, pay for their hotels just to be in the mix. But
Mm-hmm.
whenever we would want them to do something, they would expect us to pay them. That's the kind of value system
Wow.
that was happening. And so that was really traumatic for me, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think the worst part of I mean, there was I can't say
Many.
everything to me was a life lesson. There was
Mm-hmm.
something that I learned from that experience. One year, we had what, $50,000 in ticket sales, stolen out of a hotel room, um, and that was devastating because it
Mm-hmm.
was clearly somebody out of our organization that knew us
Right.
well, that had
To do it.
access to the room. And I had all of these people that I had to pay, I couldn't pay. And it
Mm.
was just traumatic because,
Right.
when people think you're not trying to pay them or they
Mhm.
think you're trying to run a game, and it wasn't like we was trying to run a game, they stole the money.
Right.
And it just was no money to pay them. And it was just bad. It was just a bad
Mhm.
experience.
And your name was connected to it. I
Hmm.
definitely could see that.
It's a bad experience, but
Hey.
I thank God for everything that happened because I say every time something happened, God had some kind of life lesson. There was
Mhm.
something for us to to
Learn from
learn from.
it. Mhm.
And when people ask me about the show and racism,
Mm.
it was also the biggest opportunity to show that we as a community could do what everybody else was doing for fractions of the cost. And that's
Right.
the part that really got them agitated, because they're like, how are you able to create these massive productions
Mhm.
with fractions of the cost that it takes us,
All
so
these
many dollars to
lessons.
execute? But
Yeah.
we had did it so long that every part of the business I had to become an expert on. I had to do my own PR, my own community outreach, my own awards, my own decors, my own fashions, my own designs, my own
Mhm.
choreography. I had to do all of that stuff. So I had to become a master of multiple things to make sure that the product was spectacular.
Mm. I know I said those are the last two. Did you want to finish telling us about Don? How you met
Oh
Don?
yeah.
Mhm.
Well, Don is kind of unique because we worked together here in Miami, and we came together as I was working for, at that time, Beauty Schools of America. I
Mhm.
was their marketing manager in Miami for the international division for shows, and Mr. John Revstock came to an event we did here for Wella Color Charm, loved
Mhm.
my work, and hired me for Beauty Schools of America. At
Hmm.
that time, Don was having a 501c3 nonprofit for young girls in the Miami-Dade area.
Hmm.
And so I met her, and she worked with me, coincide. I stayed in her building during the weeks of me preparing for the hair show. And we just became so close. And
Yeah.
needless to say, we would end up taking the show to Nassau, Bahamas, which is
Hey.
where Don's family is.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And we did that at the Sheraton on the Cables beach.
Mm.
And the night of the show, as the show was going on, of course, Don was there. Uh, I'm in the middle of the show, and somebody pulls my pant leg and said, I want to say something. And I'm looking like, okay, so what do you want to say? So I give them, because, there's a wild card, like,
I'm,
child, if you give them
oh,
this mic, you don't know what these fools going to
I'm
say,
telling you.
right? So I said, okay, Lord. I gave him the mic, and he asked Don for her hand in marriage.
Oh, Don.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
So I was
Beautiful.
like, so again, those were some of the most amazing moments. I can never ever take that away. And I laugh because it's always a story. Like our life should probably be a mini television
Yes.
series of a
Yes.
reality show of just crazy stuff that happens getting ready for the show. So
Uh-huh.
me and Donos had became friends, and we were working, and I was staying at her building during the time we were getting ready for the Miami show,
Okay.
and my car got stolen. Oh my God. So
What
we're
was
looking
your name?
all over Miami for this rental car. We're all in the poking beans and everywhere trying to find this car, because on all the times to get a rental car, this was the time I decided to get a rental car and be like, I don't need to get no insurance. But I never would have thought they was going to steal the car, but they stole the car. So we had to find the car. And I couldn't tell any of them about the situation with the car. So we find the car, the person that took the car, and I was just devastated because the car was stolen. The ticket money for the Miami show was stolen, because that was in under the
Oh
seat
my
in the
God.
car. So that was it. So then one night, about maybe 2, 3 days later, the person who stole the car called my cell phone
What?
and said, I'm outside. What? I come running down the steps of the building because they
Uh-uh.
outside. I was like, oh my God, I was so worried about you. I wasn't worried about nothing but that ticket money up under that
I know
seat.
that's right.
So, but
It was some tough
it's
days.
always, like I tell people all the time, life is a journey. Hey,
Okay.
it is what it
This is
is.
the last one. Any regrets?
Say
Any,
again?
anything you regretted in this industry?
Yes, of course. I mean, when you're running a business or when you're inspiring to do a business, you put 100% into what your dream or your passion is.
Right.
But sometime along the way, you forget the things that are most important.
Mm,
When I was in show mode, that was always the number one agenda. And
mhm.
family always kind of got the back seat,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know?
Mhm,
And so it was a sign of just being a workaholic.
mhm,
So you have to be able to juggle what's most important. And
mhm,
I'll tell anybody, I don't care what you're doing, I don't care
mhm.
how great it is, I don't care what a contribution it is, I don't care what great service you're doing for the community. Always put yourself first.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Glenn, this
Yes,
has
ma'am.
been a phenomenal interview. If I
Thank
would have
you so
known
much.
what I know right now, brother, I would have had so many questions for you because I was like, Don, you could do the interview. Don, like, okay. And Don just like, okay, just happy go lucky, but Don don't really want to do the. She not Lee. I want you to do the interview. She had told me this a couple of months ago. I didn't even
Uh-huh.
think I was going to interview. She just kept saying, because, and that's the all true authenticity of your relationship
Uh-huh.
and the people that you're dealing with. She was always talked about you being her friend
Uh-huh.
because that goes really far, especially today in this world. People don't value relationships or people like before. I don't know what that is,
Uh-huh.
especially the day and time. So, Mr. Jackson, I want to first just commend you for all that
Thank
you have done and continue to do, even though you're retired, the things you continue to do. I pray that you grace this platform again, that this is not
thank
your
you.
first or your last visit, because it will
Hmm.
be an honor anytime you feel like you want to get a mic and you want to say what you need to say. Please,
Yes,
please
ma'am.
don't forget
Yes,
us.
ma'am. And
Um,
I told Don on your behalf this
uh-huh.
morning when I called your cell phone, because
Mm,
I called you this morning on our way leaving PGA. On your cell phone, we got your answering service. And
okay.
I told her, I said, I got the biggest kiki out of you and her mama. That was the biggest kiki for me for the whole weekend.
What was
I
that?
I said because when you got into that outfit, you got into straight character. And that really told me you had you had it. Everybody don't have that. So that was
Uh,
already a done deal. And I made sure I told Dawn, make sure you call her, let her know we leaving.
but listen, Glenn, I was out at 7 a.m.
Yep.
I was out. To be honest, I love my bed. That's the
Yes.
first thing I had set up when I moved. I need to be in my bed, but I actually came home, did some stuff, and I went to sleep. So I didn't even see when you guys were calling.
Yeah.
And again, I like God knocking on the door. Hey, I got this blessing for you. I'm not even paying attention to it because I'm like,
Yes,
okay,
ma'am.
I got so much stuff to do. But again, it is a honor
Thank you.
to have you in my presence. And you got away. But if I would have known that and you was sitting next to me eating that club turkey sandwich,
Yes, indeed. That
I
I
would have
could
been
not eat all of it at one time. So yes.
yes. So hopefully we will meet again. And
Okay.
again,
And
thank
make
you.
sure to send my highest regards to Dawn. And I'm
She
sorry
here.
that I missed her.
She on it. She watching you right now. She's on it. She said y'all been rolling ever since. She watching
Yes.
the interview right now. So
Oh,
Don,
awesome.
she says she loves you, love y'all to life. That's what Don just
Yes.
put up in there. And we do. We absolutely love you. Thank you again for helping our community. Thank you for being a light, a true beauty pioneer that was in the industry. And I am forever grateful. Thank you again. I wish
Thank
you
you
the best.
again.
Any whatever you have going on, we wish you the best. And again, please, anytime you feel free, just give us a call. We love you. All right,
Will
Glenn.
do. All right. Continue blessing.
Thank you.
Bye bye
Bye.
now.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone. Smooches.